The myth is product development with Scrum starts with the first sprint. There is nothing happening before the first sprint. The truth is, before the first sprint, a lot of things happen in Scrum. A question I get asked quite often is, how can the planning of the first sprint take place if there isn't a product backlog yet and no refinement has been done to it? There are no stories before the first sprint that you could pull into the sprint. How can you start the first sprint like that? To put it simply, some people imagine the situation like that. On the first day of the first sprint, the Scrum Master, product owner, and developers meet for the first time and ask themselves whether they want to develop a banking app, a control system for a car, or a social media app, for example. Of course, that's not what's happening. A lot of things happen before the first sprint. The activities before the first sprint start at least weeks, but maybe months or even years before. The product owner, who may not yet be called like that, has an idea, an inspiration, or through conversations with stakeholders encounters a problem that needs to be solved. This creates a first product vision. The product owner eventually will write down and detail this product vision, and in his or her mind arises an increasingly clear picture of what the product could look like and what functions and features it should have. This then creates a first rough list of requirements for the product, so to speak, a first approach towards the product backlog. In order to gain more clarity about the product to be developed, its functions and its design, the product owner can use techniques such as design thinking, design sprints, focus groups, lean start techniques, interviews, creativity techniques, observations, shadowings, and so on. This is how a product vision, a product goal, and a product backlog are created step by step, which are already much more down to earth and actionable than some people imagine. This product backlog must also contain stories on its top that are ready for implementation. Only then does the first sprint begin. So the concept that you start the first sprint without an idea of what you actually want to do is completely wrong. However, this is not a myth. Before the first sprint, there is no sprint zero, no hardening sprint, no practice sprint, or the like. Even in the first sprint, you are working on the actual increment already.